You're welcome back, and if you are just joining us, the program is Good Morning Abuja, coming to you from the Unity Station, NTA Channel 5 Abuja. And now to my first conversation of the day is with Ms. Glory Emeka Agbo, a medical laboratory scientist, and we'll be looking at the importance of blood group and genotype as a compatibility test, which is very, very important. You're welcome to the studio, ma'am.
Thank you very much.
And it's good to have you.
Thank you very much.
We're touching a very important,
Very sensitive
topic today.
Yes.
And like somebody like me, at times I mix up when you say genotype and you say blood group, So what is the difference between these two?
All right. Actually, many people don't know the difference between blood group and genotype. When you ask them, what's your blood group, they will tell you AA, and that's wrong. AA is actually a type of genotype. All right. So actually, blood group comprises of the different antibodies and antigens found at the surface of the red blood cells of every individual. There are actually different types of blood found in humans. That's for the blood group. So, but blood genotypes are actually the different genetic makeup of a person, the total genetic makeup found in a person. The genotype talks about the physical traits you see, the eye color, the height, the hair, and everything. But the blood group is just the type of blood
you have in you.
You have in you. So, and this will make me to want to talk about the different types of the red blood cells, different type of the blood group.
Yeah, we'll look at that. It's very important because when you talk about genotype, blood groups, and then when we say genotype, we're actually talking about what you've inherited, what you can inherit from your parents, and then they can say, oh, that's heredity, or that's genetic in them, right? If I'm okay. So, and then the blood groups, we have different types of blood groups, right? So what are they?
Actually, there are about 8 different types of blood group, 4 major ones. We have the A, the B, the A, B, and the O. But that's the 4 major types. But when we make them become 8, then we're talking about the rhesus factor. Now, the rhesus factor is a type of protein also found on the surface of the red blood cells. You understand? When you talk about the blood group, we're talking about the antigens found on the surface of the red blood cells. These antigens could be A, they could be B, and they could be rhesus factor also.
And what's
I hope I'm not confusing you.
All
right, so for the types,
I'm getting it, I'm learning.
So it is these antigens that makes you know what type a
whether
person
you're AA or your AS.
Yes, the presence or absence of these antigens on the surface of the red blood cells. Now, if you have A antigen on the surface of your red blood cells, you have the blood group A.
Okay.
If it is the B you have the blood group B. If you have both the A and the B antigens, it is you're having AB blood group. Then if you have the O antigen on the surface of your red blood cells, your blood group is O. Now, for the rhesus factor is what makes you know whether it's positive. You know, people say B positive, O positive. Now, if you are having the rhesus factor, is a type of protein on the surface too. If you're having A antigen on your surface with rhesus protein antigen on the surface, that means you are A positive. I don't know if I'm explaining it.
You're explaining it in a way that everyone can understand.
All right. So if you also have the rhesus factor on the surface of your antigen, and you also have B antigen on the surface too, that's you are B positive. But if you don't have the rhesus antigen on the surface, you are negative. That will make you either B negative, A negative, or O negative. But basically we have 4 major types: A, B, O, A, B, and O. Those are the 4 blood groups, but the presence of the positive and the negative is dependent on the rhesus factor.
I'm actually learning science here. So what makes it so necessary for us to, you know, carry out blood group and genotype for compatibility test? Why is it so important?
The necessity of it cannot be overemphasized. It's very, very necessary to avoid you having a sickle cell child. Okay. And apart from that, to avoid you having series of miscarriages. I think I will talk about that later, but the major thing, we advise couples before they get married, please get tested, find out your genotype and the kind of blood group you both have, to know if you're compatible or not. This will make me want to give a little experience I have with one of my colleagues who knew her genotype. She's AA, but her husband actually knew his own, but he did it, I don't know, maybe in a quack place. So they told him he was AA, not knowing, okay, she is AS, sorry, and they told him he was AA, meanwhile he was AS. So getting married, they did not go to retest in a very good place. She just believed in him. He said, like some people will say, you want to get married to someone, you just ask, you know your genotype, and the person will be like, yes, I'm AA, and you just assume and get married. No, you should get tested in a government approved facility. That would be better. So in her own case, they just got married, and then the first child was AS, which she was comfortable because she was AS. The second child was AS. She was comfortable. The third child was SS, and then her eyebrows were rose, like, how come you are AA, I am AS, why should we be having SS? That's what led her to go and reconfirm her husband's blood group, but that was already late. Till now, that they're already going through a lot of trauma because of the health of that child. She falls ill every now and then, and a lot of resources are gone just to make sure she stays alive. So to avoid all this, I can't start telling you about the disadvantages of having an SS child in the house. Is traumatic, seriously. So to avoid that, even for the child and for you yourself, get tested and know if you are compatible. And please, if you're not compatible, please be wise enough to release each other. Don't say, some people are very religious. They will say, we'll pray about it. It will change. As a medical personnel, please separate. God will give you.
You made me remember my partner. Sister. If someone asks her, what's your genotype? She'll just call me on the phone. So what's your own? If I tell her, she'll now tell the person. She doesn't like the needles. Is there any of this blood group that we can say is the best among them?
For blood group or genotype, you mean?
Yeah, I mean the blood group.
Okay. Every blood group is unique
in its own.
In its own. I won't say anyone is better. I won't say anyone is.
So what about the genotype?
For the genotype, it's a very sensitive matter because I won't say they are not good, but there are some that are problematic.
Okay.
I'll use that word. So you really have to do this compatibility test to avoid having them. But if you have it already, that's why you should know, so that you know the kind of spouse to get married to. Okay. So for the genotype, I didn't mention the different types. We have 6 different types of genotypes. I know we are used to AA and AS and SS, but there's also CC, AC, and SC.
Wow. And what are they?
Yes, there are 6 in number: AA, AS, SS.
No, we know the normal CC, AA, and then you understand, and then we are talking about C now.
Yes. Those with the C traits are close to sicklers. They're also sicklers. They come down with jaundice, with anemia. So we see people with AC, although they're not common in Nigeria, but for those in the western region, the Yorubas, maybe because of their maybe they came in common with the Cameroonians, so they kind of have this AC blood group. SC blood genotype. Sorry. So if you have SC, An SC person should not marry someone with AS because you will still give birth to a sickler.
Oh, wow.
Time will fail me to talk about the whole, those that should marry each other. I wish I have time to.
Okay. So, we have the O's.
Yes.
And then they say they are the universal donors. So, can you talk to us more on those ones?
All right. For the blood group system, we have the blood group O. And most times, you know, when I'm on duty and then we have a donor, and someone comes, a donor comes, and when we ask what's your blood group, it's like, I'm a universal donor. I don't understand. I just asked what's your blood group, and the person will like, I'm O positive. And we'll be like telling them, O positive is not a universal donor.
Oh, really?
Yes, O positive is not a universal donor. Yes, they could give a whole number of people with other blood groups, but they can't give everyone. They can't give everyone. Now, the positive attached to them makes it impossible to give to everyone. The positive is the presence of rhesus factor, the protein I talked about. Yes, is on the surface of their red blood cells. So they cannot give to someone that does not have the negatives. There are people with B negative, there are people with A negative, there are people with AB negative, and there are people with O negative. So if you're with O, your blood is O positive, you can't give an O negative person. Neither can you give an A negative person. So you're not a universal donor. The real universal donors are those with the negative O type blood. Okay. The O negative people. Wow. So what makes it possible for them to give everybody is the absence of any antigen on the surface of their red cell. They don't have the A antigen, they don't have the B antigen, and they don't have the rhesus antigen on their surface. So when you give their blood to anybody, there will be no immune response. Okay. Let's say there's an emergency, someone needs blood in the hospital, and you don't know the blood group of this person. The safest blood to give to that person is O negative, because anybody can take it. To save you the stress of let's check the blood group, the person is dying, so just get O negative blood from the bank and transfuse. There will be no immune response.
That's very informative.
Yeah, thank you.
So the role of some bloods, the genotype, can they really affect or bring about miscarriages in people, in some women?
Yes. Yes, in the sense that for the blood grouping system is attached with the rhesus factor. Now, not just the blood group on its own causes miscarriage, but the rhesus factor. The presence of that plus you see, or the negative you see on your blood group, that's what causes it. Now, it's still part of the test that should be carried out before you get married. If your husband is, let's say for an instance, your husband is blood group B positive and you are O negative, there will be a problem when you take in. Now, we're not talking about sicklers now. We're talking about you getting pregnant and that pregnancy is staying. Miscarriages these days are one of the reasons, or the major reasons why people have miscarriage. One of the factors is this rhesus factor. If the mother is a rhesus negative mother and then her husband is positive and then she takes in, the fetus can be positive. That's the fetus takes the blood of his father. So the fetus blood is positive. Why the mother is negative? This will make the blood of the mother to begin to reject that fetus. So the baby presence is like there's an intruder. So the body starts to fight. There'll be release of antibodies, and the release of these antibodies can cross through the placenta, thereby affecting the fetus. So you see that you see people taking in and they're always having miscarriages, the first, second, third. They should go check their rhesus factor, do blood grouping, know if, not just for you and your spouse, go do it, know if you're positive and negative. Then when you know, there's actually a way of escape. At the 28th week of pregnancy, you can take a rhesus immunoglobulin called Rogam. I think it's about 35,000 or thereabout. But notwithstanding, it's very important. They will inject you with it, so it stops all those reactions.
But then the pregnancy can proceed to that 28 weeks.
Yes, it can.
Okay.
It can.
So
it can.
That's very good.
If if, let's say, the pregnancy proceeded, you didn't take it, at delivery, you can actually still give Rogam.
Okay.
It will help the other pregnancies to come, so that the children don't go out via stillbirth or
okay. So is there any genotype compatibility awareness chart placed for people, you know, to see in a healthcare institution?
Actually, where I work, there is.
Okay.
And I believe in most FCT hospitals, because I work under FCDA, we have all those charts to help.
Okay, but then you make awareness for people when they come in to look at it. And
we do that.
Okay.
We do that.
Oh, that's very good. Thank you so much. Thank you for coming on the program. We appreciate you being here. So we've been speaking to the medical laboratory scientist, Glory Emeka Agbo, and she has been talking to us about the compatibility test of the genotype and, you know, the blood group. So we're going to short break and we'll be right back.